Hello everybody, it's Mrs. Hamoud. Today's lesson is about comparative and superlative adjectives. Here's our main menu. We are going to learn about what comparative and superlative adjectives are, what syllables are and how to count them, how to form comparative and superlative adjectives, exceptions to the rule, common errors, and then we're going to test your knowledge. What's a comparative adjective? A comparative adjective compares only two people or two things. Here we have two people, Bob and Ben. If I want to compare them, I would say that Bob is taller than Ben. Or I could say Ben is shorter than Bob. Here's another example. I could say health is more important than money. The use of ER or more is called the comparative. Notice in the examples, than follows the comparative form. It's taller than, shorter than, more important than. What is a superlative adjective? A superlative adjective compares one person or a thing to all the others in the same group. So here I have a hand and it has 5 fingers. I'm going to compare one finger to the whole group. So I would say my thumb is the shortest finger of all. In the comparative form, I would say my thumb is shorter than my index finger. So here I'm comparing two things. And in the superlative, I'm comparing one thing to a whole group. And I could also say health is the most important thing. The use of est or most is called the superlative. Notice in the example, the precedes the superlative form. The shortest, the strongest, or the most important. Now, before we learn how to form comparatives and superlatives, we need to find out what syllables are. So, what is a syllable? Well, a syllable is a part of a word that contains sounds. It usually has a vowel in it. So if I were to take a look at the adjective fantastic, I could clap to count the syllables. I would say fan, tas, tick. So that means I have 3 syllables. Some words have 1 syllable, as in dog over here, or 2 as in apple, because you would clap 2 times, you'd say apple. Ladybug has 3, and others have 4 or more syllables. You'll see the importance of counting syllables in a little bit. So here we have our table that teaches us how to form comparative and superlative adjectives. And the first thing it says is that if we have adjectives that have 1 syllable, that means you count only 1 time. Like in fast, 1 clap, 1 syllable. You would add er to fast in the comparative form, and you would put the and est in the superlative form. Now, of course, you would say faster than or the fastest. If an adjective has 1 syllable, that means you're clapping once, and it ends in an e, all you have to do is add an r in the comparative and st in the superlative. If an adjective has 1 syllable, but it ends in a vowel and a consonant, well, we need to double the last consonant and also add er or est. As for adjectives that end in y, as in happy, you would remove the y and then add ier in the comparative form and iest in the superlative form. As for adjectives that have 2 or more syllables, so you're clapping more than once, as in famous, you would say famous. Here, you would not put ER, you would just use more and keep the adjective in the base form. Or you would use the most in the superlative. Now we have some exceptions. These adjectives are irregular. They don't follow the rules, so we have to memorize them. We would never say gooder than or the goodest. We would say better, best. Bad becomes worse, worst. Little, less, least. Much, more, most. Far can be further or farther, and it can be furthest or farthest. Here's another exception. With the following one-syllable adjectives, you should use more and most instead of er and est. So you would never say realer or realist, you would say more real or most real. And the same thing goes for the adjective right, wrong, ill, and fun. So you should study these. If two things are equal in some way, we can use a comparison with as, the base form of the adjective, and as. It's worth mentioning this because students usually say something like, he's as taller as his father. Well, we can't put taller here. So when you're doing a comparison like of equality here, you would put as tall as. The adjective has to be in the base form. Or she's as intelligent as her sister. Again, the adjective has to be in the base form. So keep that note in mind. We'll need it later. Now we have some common errors with comparatives and superlatives. One common error is using er or more instead of using est or most. So someone might say, she is the nicer person I know. Well, I'm comparing her to a group, so I shouldn't say the nicer. I should use a superlative. She is the nicest person I know. He is the more intelligent person I know. Again, I'm comparing one person to a whole group, so I should use the superlative. The correct way would be, he is the most intelligent person I know. Another common error is using more and er and using est and most. For example, he is more quicker than me. It should be, he is quicker than me. So I can't use more and er together. It's either more or er. And for one-syllable adjectives, I should use er. Here's another example. He is the most quickest runner in class. Well, we don't put most and est together, one or the other depending on the number of syllables. So it should be, he is the quickest runner in class. So we're done explaining. Now it's your turn. What I need you to do is pause the video and copy these sentences down and fill in the blanks using the comparative or superlative adjectives. This is exercise A. That means there's exercise B after it. So when you finish, move on to exercise B. Again, here, copy the error and the correction after you copy the sentences. And when you're done, then you move on to the end of the video where you find the answer key for both exercises. I hope you did a great job. Bye-bye.